Welcome to the main zone. I am Jermaine. Thank you for tuning in my podcast. Wherever you are, however you're listening, as always, thank you. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watching on YouTube. It's been a few weeks. A little behind on my goal this year on how many podcast episodes I'm going to release. Been swamped with a lot of stuff. You know, for you out there that don't know, it's a beautiful thing. But my wife and I are expecting one more child here in the next couple of weeks, so that's been exciting. Summertime, another most likely August baby. So little boy. We've announced it on Instagram, so I guess I could say it on here as well. So a wonderful time, and excited to meet the little man when he gets here. And then we've had, the heat wave and spending more time with a lot of time with my kids, and just sometimes just life, and then looking for things to discuss that I'm more passionate about, which is some things not sports related, but I haven't put them all together yet of how to discuss them. But all in all, everything's good. Summertime's about over. All those educators are getting ready to head back to our respective campuses here soon. So much success to all educators out there. All right, lots to get into today, though. We're going to do some news first. Everything from, Skip Bayless not being able to find somebody to replace Shannon Sharp on Undisputed, to DFW basketball players being drafted in the NBA recently. You got Kyrie signed with Atlanta. Summer League was a little bit disappointing. I'll tell you why. We'll talk about Zion. Did y'all see what Steven Jackson said about Jalen Green, which I found was hilarious? Not a lot of high school stuff, but I want to give some props to a young man who I've been following from afar. His name's Nick Cody. For those that don't know, he's a rising class of 2024 up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And what's unique about him is I've been watching his videos that his father has posted on Facebook for a few years, and you've seen the grind that the young man has put himself through. Before last year, he wasn't on anybody's radar, and now this year, he's got some of the best schools in the nation looking at him. He was invited to the NBPA Top 100 camp in this past June. Just want to give a shout out to that young man. I know he doesn't listen. That's not the reason for it. It's just I love seeing young people pursuing something to the fullest and then being rewarded for pursuing something to the fullest. So keep it up, man. People are watching. You're inspiring young people. I've actually shared some of his journey with some of my students, of not worry about where you're ranked, just worry about putting in the work, and then the results will come. Everybody that's great knows that. So keep putting in work. My guys keep putting in work, and anybody that's pursuing their dreams and goals, just keep putting in work. And I believe that you will be blessed with it. All right. So everybody knows about the draft. It was over a month ago now. Wemby went number 1 to the Spurs. Shout out to the Spurs. I live here in San Antonio. I know they're excited about that. A little disappointed in him in the summer league, though, because he only played 2 games. Same for, I know Scoot Henderson got hurt, and same for Brandon Miller. I wish these guys would play more. They're 18, 19 years old. Being real about it, that they're young. They'd be playing pickup ball all day at the Y if they weren't in NBA. So I get it's a huge investment, and they're worried about injury and all that kind of stuff. But people do want to pay. They want to see those guys. They really do. But speaking of the summer league, huge shout out to Jalen Wilson, the Big 12 Player of the Year out of Kansas. He's drafted 51 to the Nets. It's funny because on the draft night, after he got drafted, my brother and I were discussing it. And it's like, yeah, he went way too low. And this is before he averaged 17 a game in NBA Summer League and held his own and had a great Summer League. I think he made a second team All Summer League, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, as my brother and I were discussing it, it is crazy how so many guys get drafted and you hold stuff against him based off, let's say he's 22. Oh, who cares? Or what position he's going to play in the NBA. And then you'll draft a 19-year-old who has freak athleticism but can't hoop to save his life. It's just sometimes it gets frustrating watching the draft. because so much of the draft is based off of potential and not off who can actually get it done. And so congrats to you, Jalen. I know your father, Darrell, is super happy, super proud. I spoke about them before on the podcast. Great family. Love to see how he has helped guide his son, as with his wife. They've guided their son to this type of success. Again, just like similar to Nick Cody, beautiful to see. Beautiful. It's so great to see this young man reach his dreams, reach his goals, and not letting being number 51 affect how he played on the court. Now, last week, Zion was on the Gilbert Arenas podcast, and he was talking about how he struggles with his diet and all that. Like, come on, man. You're in the league. You have money for a chef. Shut up and get in shape and watch what you're eating. It's that simple. Like, today we try to make excuses for all these young guys of why we're going to pay them top dollar, super max contracts. And you're not even available, man. You're too busy knocking down strippers, or porn stars, I should say, and not working on your craft, not working on your body. It's that simple. And that's the problem I have with the NBA from the standpoint of what we're going to get into in a second, which is like max slots and the problem with the max slot and salaries and things like that. And it's basically because some guys, not all, some guys cheat the game, work really hard just to earn the max, and they show up out of shape. Don't spend the summers really working on their game, which is so very frustrating for the paying consumer, because we're paying big money to watch you guys perform, and half the time you're not available. But that'll be a topic for another day. So let's go a little bit of free agency. I think the Rockets lost their mind spending all the money on the guards that they got. I mean, I get you trying to change the culture and all that, and bring in some veterans, but you can go get a veteran like Ish Smith, pay him $3 to $4 million, and he'll be a voice to your young players. But bringing in Van Vliet for what, 130 million for a guy that shoots 39% from the field, and you already have 4 or 5 guards that need the ball and need some time. It didn't make sense to me. Let me think of other signings that really didn't make any sense. The big trade with Bradley Beal. I think the Suns are going all in. They're supposed to be working him at point guard, which I don't know how that's going to work, but hey, we'll see how it goes. I think Denver's loaded. They're ready to go. Not too much in free agency other than that. I mean, it's already happened. I was supposed to do a podcast on it, but like I said, things took place. Same with the Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. I know Skip's trying to find somebody. That's why they're on hiatus, and nobody wants to get in that seat. Number one is because he controls everything on the show. Number two, at any moment, he could just be disrespectful, and you're supposed to just sit there and take it. So I see why he's having a hard time filling that position. And then you had Stephen A. Smith on the other side, First Take on his podcast, actually saying that he wants Shannon Sharp on ESPN. Because if you notice, ESPN fired a bunch of people a couple of weeks ago. But he does want to be, Stephen A. Smith wants Shannon Sharp to hop on and be over there with him on First Take. I think that would be a good fit. I haven't watched First Take in years. It's hard to watch a lot of this stuff now, and just because everything is too much urgency. Like use this past NBA title as an example. Last year, Jokic gets knocked out the playoffs, I think, in the Western Conference Finals. Everybody's like, "Oh man, he's a bum. He can't get it done." So he wins the title. He's like, "All right, now he's top 10 center of all time." He's the same player. Nothing's changed. He just won a ring. So I find, especially in the summertime sports, during this the death time of sports per se, because there's no NBA. Football is just now getting to training camp. All you really have is baseball. You have the WNBA. So I'm not gonna say this. There's no basketball going on, but of your major sports that people watch, the two of the major ones, football and basketball, are not on the air right now. Speaking of the WNBA, real quick, It's not something to be the news that's good, but no, I'm not going to discuss that. I'll save it for later and give my take on that. So now, I know it sounds like I'm flowing pretty quick and rushing, but I'm not. It's just I really wanted to get to the meat of my discussion tonight. Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm sorry. NFL running backs. Now, I know Saquon Barkley held out and they got his $11 million. Great for you. Not mad at you. Now, all this, what it seems like running backs whining about their contracts and not getting big money like a lot of other players because you can win without spending a lot of money on running back. I would say it's unfortunate, but that's what the market says. Like, look at the past 5 or 6 Super Bowl winners. They're not paying $15 million for a running back. Now, it is unfortunate that by the time an NFL running back hits that big payday that they're supposed to get, they're already like 26, 27, 28, so nobody wants to pay them. And it has to do with the mileage and all that kind of stuff that they have put on those legs. Excuse me. But that should be a conversation they have with their high school and college coaches. I think, like, look at Derrick Henry's high school stats. The kid was carrying the ball almost 500 times a season. Cut that down at a young age. That leads to wear and tear. Same for in college. Cut that down. It leads to wear and tear. And then with running backs, I think if you reduce the amount of carries in high school and college, then they're more fresh heading to their big contract in the NFL. But to think you have to have a meeting about the state of quarterbacks, I mean, running backs, I'm sorry, that's just a joke. I don't know what to say. It's just that, hey, look at the past Super Bowl winners. They pay a lot for their quarterback. They pay a lot for their left tackle. They might pay a lot for a wide receiver. They might pay a lot for their tight end. They might pay a lot for their edge rusher. Might pay a lot for a corner. That's it. You're not in that elite position anymore, meaning football positions, because of the fact that it's such a pass-friendly league now. All the rules benefit quarterbacks throwing the ball. So that's why you see Lamar Jackson just set the new rate, the new bar for quarterbacks, and then the Chargers just move past that. And then Burrow's coming up next. He'll move past that. Like, quarterbacks are getting paid. Left tackles get paid. That is what it is. Speaking of football, though, in no way I'll let my son play football when he can play soccer. I mean, think about that. The deal that Mbappe was just offered by this team out of Saudi Arabia, $776 million for 1 year. Are you kidding me? I'm about to get into Jaylen Brown's contract for $304 million over 5 years. This guy is possibly signing for $776 million for 1 year. Guys, play soccer, man. Baby J will be starting soccer his third season, I think. Yeah, third season here in August. We're on it. No, I'm just kidding. No pressure for him. That's his passion right now is soccer. So we follow soccer, but if he changes over to want to play basketball or something else, we'll move on to that. So let's get to the Jaylen Brown contract. Number one, I hate max slots in the NBA. Slots this is the amount of money a guy can be paid based off of meeting certain criteria. I'm not a fan of it because I feel that, number one, not all guys are equal. Based off the max slot, Curry, if he were up for a max right now, could be paid roughly the same as Jaylen Brown. Their ages are different, so there's some other things in the collective bargaining agreement in the CBA that you have to wiggle out. But for the most part, Jaylen Brown, since he made All NBA, Luka, since he made All NBA, Jokic, since he made All NBA, they can get slotted to that. So they're not taking into account, for me, is the total performance of including the playoffs. Yeah, think about it. Guys that get these max salaries, it is based off their production in the regular season. Now, it doesn't take a rocket science to understand that the NBA regular season is borderline a joke now. It's just threes and layups. No one plays hard unless it's a marquee game or it's on a let's say marquee date like Christmas. But for the most part, guys aren't playing hard every night. So they're getting these inflated numbers that make them look amazing. And then when the playoffs start and teams start locking in and teams start scheming and playing defense, then these guys are starting to struggle. But since they get put up 28, 6, and 5 or whatever it is in the regular season, they're like, oh, yeah, that's a first team All NBA guy, Supermax. Like, are you serious? And then the teams won't even offer less than the Supermax. And that's why I say about slots, because it's slotted to say, okay, if you're a Supermax, you get X amount of dollars. So a team can't even go to a player and say, hey, instead of 5 years, $304 million, let's do 5 years, $275. The reason being is he's slotted to earn that. So that's what's okay. I have to pay him that. Now, nothing wrong with young guys getting their money. I'm not a hater. Get your money, young buck. But is he really worth it? Or does he handcuff your franchise? Because in my opinion, he is the third best player on a title winning team, maybe second. I'll give him second. He'll be your second best player on a title winning team, but there's no way you're winning a title with him as your first option. But you're paying him $304 million. Average of 60 a year when you calculate it all the way through. So I don't understand. I get it. I shouldn't say I don't understand. I understand why the NBA put in their super max deals and their slot maxes and all that kind of stuff. I just don't agree with it from that standpoint. Is that you're rewarding a guy for having a big year because his contract year. Remember, so to get the super max, 2 of the 3 previous seasons, you had to have been an All NBA, MVP, or not MVP, All NBA, or of the year of your contract, you made All NBA, you get the Supermax. Also, if you're the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and all that kind of stuff, there's other things as well, but mainly speaking about All NBA. And so, good for him. He made All NBA. If Ja plays more games, does he make All NBA and bump Jalen out? We don't know, but that's how it is. And so then it especially until now next year when they have the 65 game minimum to be All NBA and all that kind of stuff. Before you could play 50 games, get All NBA, and move on about your business. Makes no sense. But I'm happy with his press conference. I like what he said about wanting to bring Black Wall Street to Boston. I hope it wasn't him saying that to try to justify the amount of money that he's earning or to deflect the fact that most people don't think he's worth that amount. But he's a smart guy. Read a little bit about him. Kid, he's been smart his whole life. Very well read. So I wish him the best. Again, never hating on guys getting their money. Get all they can. I'm trying to get all I can. All right. So moving along. Now, there's been a heated debate. Not heated, but George Teague the other day on a podcast said that he'd take James Harden over D Wade. And so that's what sparked on Instagram and Twitter and everything else. Everybody else's take on that. Wade or Harden. So even amongst my friends, I have 2 friend groups, and we discussed it at length today, actually, about who was better. Whether it was in the regular season, it's James Harden. In the postseason, it's D Wade, even though in the postseason, Harden has better stats. But then there's like, oh, well, Jermaine, you're just a stats guy. You only care about the stats. I'm like, oh, not really. I don't I'm not a guy that counts rings only. So then we get into this debate about what makes a guy better. Well, then it's like, okay, well, they have to have titles. And I agree, titles are important. I don't think titles are the only thing that's important. And so we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all day long. Great discussion, though, by the way. Great discussion. And then one of my boys, Gabe, shout out to Gabe. Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. When I made a different point about how many guys have actually won titles in the last 23 years, he was like, hey, man, that's a discussion for your podcast. So I was like, yeah. And then bam, I came up with this tonight. So this is what the meat of tonight's podcast is about, which is winning is important. I believe rings do count, but I don't think rings make or break the ranking of a player all the way. Now, does it move them up a notch? Yes. But can a guy win one ring and go from the 15th best player of all time to third? No. Or like you'll take like Dirk. Before Dirk won the title against the Heat, he was, oh yeah, he's top 30. And then wins the title, it's like, oh, he's top 15. So he moved up 15 slots just by winning? I don't understand that. He's still the same player, but he had a good run. Caught a few breaks. Just using it as an example. Don't come at me about how great Dirk is. I agree. I'm a Dirk fan. It's just that too often, in my opinion, winning supersedes everything else. So like a guy that's just dominant but doesn't break through, he's a bum, or he's not that good, or he doesn't have the it. What is the it? He just didn't win. Like whether it be using Harden as an example, up 3-2 against the Warriors, and Chris Paul gets hurt in game 6, I believe, or 5. I forget. He doesn't have a title. He doesn't. Does it take it away, the fact that he's been a great NBA player? A little, not as much as media weighs it. And I think that's the problem with everybody jumping ship trying to win titles, is because all of the greatest players are now based on how many rings they have, which leads me to this discussion here. So in the last, since the championship of 1980, the year I was born, that's how far we're going back, y'all. 1980. Let's go. There have been all right. So here we go. Let me back up. Let me back up so I can get my thoughts completely right on this. Since 1980, I'm going to name the guys, either the best player on one of the teams, winning or losing, but they've been in the finals. Now, the guys I'm going to name, it's the same group of people since 1980, with the exception of 2021 when Giannis won his title. In the finals, from 1980 until this year, one of these players, or two of these players, or maybe three in some cases, have been in the finals every season since 1980. Now, can anybody I'm not doing this live, but I wish somebody could guess how many players that is. That's in 43 years. Time. To tell you the truth, it's been, you can say 15 if you want to count the 83 76ers because they beat the Lakers, or you can go all the way down to 13 because one of the players that lost, which is Magic Johnson, played in multiple finals. Okay, so, and also 06. If you don't count Wade in 06, you just say, oh, Shaq was on the team. You just dismiss Wade. That's only 13 players. 13 players have won titles as one of the best people, or been in the finals. I should say, not won titles, been in the finals since 1980. And so when we talk about players like Dame and Harden, going back to Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, who else? Tracy McGrady, Steve Nash. Who else? Come on now. They've been just so dominant, and then like, oh, well, they don't have a ring. Westbrook, Paul George currently, It's all about, oh, ring count, ring count, ring count, ring count. Okay. And so when you do the math, only one team can win. Every year that wins a title, they catch a little break, get a little luck. But for me to just be able to name just 13 players, or let's go 15 players since 1980, tells you how hard it is actually to win a title. Does that take away the dominance of Dame Lillard? I don't think so. Does it suck that he hasn't won a ring? Yes. That's a a hiccup on his resume. But to say, man, this guy's not one of the all-time great players is completely unfair, because again, I'm about to name all these guys. It's so few. 43 years, man. 43 years. Let's start with 80. We can go all back to 1980 right now. Magic Johnson, 1980. Or you could say Kareem. Okay. I'm just going a couple of the best players on the team. So Magic, I even wrote down the numbers. So we're going back to 1980. Magic was in the finals 80, 82, 83, 86, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. In the finals. Okay, so let's go. 80, you had Magic. 81, you had Bird. 82, you had Magic again and Kareem. Also with Moses Malone. 83, you had Moses Malone and Magic. That's when I was saying that you could say, okay, hey, Magic was still in it. Don't even count Malone. Okay, 84, Larry Bird. 85, Magic, Larry Bird. 86, Bird. 87, Magic and Bird. 88, Magic. 89, it changes. So from 1980 to 1990, every year it was either the Boston Celtics or the Lakers in the finals. So during that whole time period, no one else was really winning. But how much emphasis is put on those guys? They were like, oh man, they didn't win. Okay. So again, from 80 to 90, you had the Lakers, you had Magic in 80, Bird in 81, Magic 82. Magic lost at 83, so Moses Malone in 83. 84, Bird won. 85, Magic won. 86, Bird won. 87, Magic won. 88, Magic won. 89, Detroit won. And 1990, Detroit won. So when you get to 1989, 1990, Isaiah comes into the fold. So again, we are Magic, Bird, Isaiah. And let's throw in Malone, since his team won the championship in 83 and they lost in 82. Okay. Let's go to 91. So we went to all from 80 to 90. Now let's go 91. 91 is literally Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Tim Duncan. Michael Jordan for 6. So you had 91, 92, 93. Then the Rockets, 94, 95. Then the Bulls, 96, 97, 98. And then the last year, 99, the strike year, you had the Tim Duncan. Okay, so we just added to our list of players 3 more. Okay. Let's go 2000 to 2009. Shaq and Kobe, Duncan. Detroit in 04 beats Shaq and Kobe. So the outlier is the Pistons. 05, Duncan. 06, you get Wade and Shaq. In the finals, they beat Dirk. 07, you get Duncan and LeBron's first trip to the finals. 08, you get Kobe getting beat by KG, but here goes Kobe. 09, Kobe wins. 2010, Kobe wins. So from 2000 to 2009, you have Shaq and Kobe, Duncan, Shaq and Kobe, Duncan, Wade, Duncan, Kobe. You're not adding a lot of guys. And then we go to 2010 to 2019. Kobe. LeBron loses to the Mavericks. So Dirk. Let's go. But LeBron's there. Then you go LeBron and Duncan. Duncan beats the Heat. You got the Warriors. So here comes Curry into the fray. Warriors versus Kobe. So you got Curry and LeBron. Then you got LeBron beating Curry. You got Curry defeating LeBron with KD. Curry defeating LeBron with KD. Then you got the Raptors, but Curry's in the final still, and Kawhi Leonard. Then you have the Lakers in 2000. LeBron, outlier, has nobody. Everybody's brand new. It's 2021. And in 22, you have Curry again. In 23, you had Jimmy Butler in the finals. He's also in the finals of 2020 against LeBron. Like, it's such a elite, exclusive class for, as you can just see, I just ran them all off to you, of guys that actually win. And so then when you put so much on the fact that winning supersedes everything else, it's hard for me to agree with that. Now, I love winners. Kobe's my favorite player of all time. I think LeBron is great. I think Duncan is great. I think D Wade's great. Curry, all-time great. All these guys are all-time greats. But it's that when the media just butchers guys for not winning as if everybody wins. Like, listen to that list. 43 years in the NBA, and it's like 15 guys are in the finals every year. Now, the rest of the players, of course, Anthony Davis plays for the Lakers now. Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. Kawhi played with Tim Duncan. Like, I get all of that. I understand it. I agree with it. I understand. But if Harden goes down without a title, does it mean he is not as great, let's say, on a rankings list as Clyde Drexler? Because Clyde Drexler won a title with Houston in 95. Does it say, going back to what we were saying, how I was saying about Jeff Teague, saying that Harden was better than Wade? What makes, if your argument is, well, Wade has 3 championships and Harden doesn't have any, but I just gave you the list of people that won a championship. Wade is on there in 06 with Shaq. And then what does he have? His other ones, 12 and 13 are with LeBron. Exclusive, man. These things, there's luck involved, because if you go back on title runs, all right, you go to title runs, you just look at it, and you go through each year and you say, okay, what break did this team get? Or this team was just more dominant. And I get it. But again, man, Iverson doesn't have a ring. Does it make him not a great player? I mean, did he jack the ball up a lot? Yes. But is he one of the all-time great players? Yes. Period. Because Kyrie has a ring, does it make him better than Dame? Don't base it on the ring. You know, because when guys have to be lead guys, see what they do when they're the lead guy, when they're the main guy, the number one option on their team. So the argument today was with Harden and Wade. When Wade was the lead guy, and that gap between Shaq and LeBron getting there, he was 10 and 41 in one year, 42 and 37, I think, in another year, and 25 and 22. And the 10 and 41 is the games that he played. Those are just the facts. And that's why I think when people started getting upset with LeBron jumping to Miami to play with Wade and Bosh, it was because LeBron was like, man, I got to start winning. Like, no matter how I'm dropping 45 against Boston and we're still not winning, I got to go do something else. You know, same for Durant. Durant was up 3-2 on the Warriors. Him and Westbrook don't close it out. He loses. The Warriors lose against the Cavs in Game 7 in the finals. Next thing you know, KD's playing with Curry. Cheat code. So I'm about to wrap this up, and it just, again, not to de-emphasize winning at all, but I think the media today just puts too much on winning. Kawhi Leonard doesn't play ever in the regular season, but he's considered one of the greatest of all time because he has 2 titles. But one of the titles, he was dominant. I give it to him. Another title, he had 3 other Hall of Famers on his team. Does that take away from Kawhi's greatness? No. But does it make Kawhi better than, let's say, Paul Pierce? I never thought about that till just now. I'm just asking, so pay attention and look at the totality of a guy's career and not just the fact that he won a couple rings when you're making arguments, people. All right. So that'll wrap that up. It was a great discussion for me because I actually looked it up and I was in shock that so few players have played or won championships in 43 years. Now, I might be inaccurate in some areas. I might have messed up my notes somewhere, but I do have it by year. Butler, 2020 and 2023. Curry played in the finals in 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 22. The outlier was Giannis. Braun, his first one was 07, then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 20. KD, 17, 18, and 19. Tim Duncan, 1999. 2003, 2005, 2007, 2013, 2014. Kobe, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2008, 2009, 2010. D Wade, again, 2006. Shaq, 06, 2004, 2002, 2001, 2000. Jordan, 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, 98. Dream, 94, 95. Isaiah, 98, 99. Magic, 80, 82, 83, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. Bird, 81, 84, 86 is when he won them, I believe. And then Moses Malone, 82, he lost. And 83, they won. So, exclusive group. I'd like them, so you ought to comment on this if you can. Let me know what you think about my take on how hard it is actually to win an NBA title, and such an exclusive club that it is for winners. And let's not take away from players that have had great careers but came up short. Because in this social media driven era, it's hard to win. And so for those that do, they're blessed. And for those that don't, that doesn't make them less of an all-time great. It's just the ball didn't bounce their way. Case in point, and I'll finish up with this. 2 points. Number 1, imagine if KD foot didn't touch the line. Does Harden get his first ring? Does Durant get number 3? And does Kyrie get number 2? Because we're not talking about he hit the shot. He just had his toe on the line. Now, that made Giannis go from a really good player to an all-time great by that one title, even though it was. And again, it's nothing wrong with it. I'm not mad. It's just like when you sit there and think about it, it's like, oh, shoot. Giannis gets a ring in 2021. Harden, Kyrie, and Durant don't get another one, or Harden get his first. So we're talking about Giannis is this top 10, 15 player. And if he doesn't win the ring, where do you rank him? He's still the same player, though. So lastly, tonight, for everybody knows by now, Brian James went into cardiac arrest at practice at USC. Glad to hear that he's doing well. I can only imagine what LeBron and his family are going through. Kid's only 18 years old, so glad he's back home. Glad he's in good condition. Wish him nothing but the best as he pursues his dream of playing in the league and hopefully playing next to his father. So if you're a prayerful person, shoot a prayer for the James family. If not, then just wish them good energy. Until next time, like, subscribe, comment, shoot me a message. And as always, stay blessed. I'm out.